Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Top 90 Podcast. My name is Garrett.
And I'm Rich.
Thank you for joining us. Today, we'll be talking about a couple of things that have been going on in the wonderful world of the NHL. Hopefully, you guys have been enjoying the last week as much as we have. A lot of crazy things have been going on. I guess we can start with the trade.
Yeah, trade, go for it.
All right. A couple of days ago, there was one of the bigger trades to go down for definitely the biggest trade of the season so far. We had Cutter Gauthier going from Philadelphia for Jamie Drysdale. Both of them are top 10 picks. Gauthier was a top 5 pick 2 years ago. Drysdale, top 6 pick. He was drafted in 2020. It's kind of a weird story, right? I mean, it just seems like there's another one of those going down the rabbit hole type stories in the NHL this season. There's talk that Cutter wasn't happy with something. He alluded to seeing some things happen over the last 2 years, year and a half, that he really wasn't, I guess, vibing with, so to speak. And he said that he didn't really want to be part of the organization and he asked to be traded. And, look, Philadelphia got a good return if, Drysdale can become, the player that he's expected to be and stay healthy.
It's more than a good return. It's really, for a team, to my understanding, it was kept pretty close to the chest. Like, it wasn't a known thing around the league.
Yeah. Yep.
They kept it that way. So there was no, when Philly pitched it to Anaheim, I'm sure. It was more like, they got the most fair deal they could get. It wasn't like they were like, they have to trade this guy, so we're going to try to hose him. It's they dangled this kid that is having a really good showing, like, currently, and he just helped Team USA to
they won a gold
medal. So
and he had a big part of it. It's not like
it's a huge part of it. So there's that, but then there's the other side of it, which is Jamie Drysdale, who is a defenseman that, to my understanding, doesn't really come along every day. He's not quite Hedman, but from the defensive end, but they say he's got the offensive upside of a Brian Leach. He skates exceptionally well, and he's very good. Is hard to find. Very good he's very good with the puck. Makes good decisions. It's a guy that they're going to rely on to quarterback power play because that's an area of struggle for them, and they've been very good even strength. And it's one of those things where the Philly Flyers, they got a stud defenseman for something they didn't even really have.
Yeah.
They had Cutter Gauthier, but really he was a blue chip that they exchanged for a blue chip defenseman.
And they got another draft pick.
Yeah, they got a second round pick.
And they got a second round pick.
That's huge. It's unbelievable. This Gauthier kid better work out. And I'm going to be real. I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that Fantilli has played so well, and that GM's got to feel like, oh my God, I got to do something to make okay, I dropped the ball. Not that Leo Carlson is a bad player, because we haven't really. He's shown some upside. He's shown some upside, but he's in and out of the lineup. They're kind of not playing him every day. Yeah, and that's just not the case with the other guy.
Yeah, and Anaheim was a team that had kind of a Cinderella start to the season. They've kind of fallen off. They're still, so they're
Anaheim.
Yeah, in the beginning of the season, the first 2 weeks of the season, they got off to a pretty, and they were
playing pretty good.
They were playing pretty solid, and then they just, they kind of reverted back to, I guess, the form that they were expected to. They have, they're stockpiling some solid young players.
They are. They're going to be a team to watch in the future, and they traded Drysdale, Well, let's be real. They do have a wealth of defensemen. They have Fowler, they have Mintyukov, and that's
kid's
a guy
looked
that
real good.
they're expecting to be their guy.
Yeah.
Down the road. So
yeah, and Racco Gudis, they picked him up.
yeah. So,
so I mean,
they have stability back
and-
there, and it's something they could do. And you know they did that for the future. That's not they already know they're not going to do anything this year. So they had the luxury of being able to take that risk. I think it's not going to be a good thing for them down the road. I feel like you know, I mean, how can I possibly know? It's just my hunch that, you know, Philly won this one.
Yeah, I mean, you would say on the surface, you would think, you know, you pick up a right-hand shot defenseman. He's going to be a quarterback on your top pair power play. He'll probably be a top 4 defenseman. When you look at that, plus you get the second round pick. The thing is he going to stay healthy? The guy's played 18 games in the last 2 seasons. Right. That's a big factor. I mean, obviously a torn labrum, you know, certain things are like, he's, you know, when it's a contact play and it's during a game or something, you know, like he's not like one of these guys where it's like, oh, you know, he's walking down the street and he, you know, tripped and he hurt himself. Where some of these guys are just injury prone and he's always hurt. But that being said, he did only play 8 games last year. Mm-hmm. He only played in 10 games this year. So he missed most of last season and the start of this season. But look, he came in. He played the other day. He got in. He played. I think it was like 18. He played he played near the top minutes for the defenseman for the Flyers. He had an assist on the game tying goal. The Flyers wound up winning that game. Montreal is kind of in shambles, but either way, it's 2 big points for Philly. And, you know, Philly has got, you know, a good team brewing over there, you know, and they're buying into Torch's system. And you can see that, you know, their young players are, you know, and they're not their young players, just their core players. Their players are buying into the system. They're playing well. And, you know, last year things didn't really go so well. And now this year there seems to be turning around. It's just the weird part of this whole situation. Well, the 2 things that I find weird about it is, one, they're treating this kid Cutter Gauthier like he is like this super villain, like, you know, like this has never happened before in the history of sports in the NHL, where a kid has been drafted by a team and he didn't want to play there. I mean, Look, Flyer fans, if you're listening, I'm pretty sure you remember how you got Eric Lindros, right? And we all remember how that worked out for the Flyers and Eric Lindros, and how that worked out for the Quebec Nordiques, a.k.a. the Colorado Avalanche, who wound up lifting the Stanley Cup the next season after they were spawned by the fucking Lindros. So you don't know, all right? Look, Adam Fox did it. Brian Berard did it. I think Jimmy Vesey did it, right? There's some players that did it. I didn't realize Kobe Bryant, he didn't want to play for the Charlotte Hornets, and he was like, I'm out of here. I'm not playing for the Charlotte Hornets. Right. Eli Manning didn't want to play for the Chargers. He forced his way to New York. These things happen. These guys, they are human. You know, they feel like it's not a good situation. Does it suck for the fan base involved? Yes. But look, it's not like this is the only time it's ever happened. So, like, Flyer fans sending death threats to Gauthier. Now they're sending death threats to Kevin Hayes because somehow Kevin Hayes' name got sucked into this, because a beat writer in Philadelphia said that, you know, back in the day when Kevin Hayes was on the team, him and Tortorella didn't get along. So now he's in the ear of Gauthier because the whole thing is nonsense. The kid didn't want to play there. Maybe it's as petty as he was a Penguins fan and he doesn't want to play for Philadelphia. Can't imagine that's the case, but whatever. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they did a pretty good job with their return, you know? So just go on with it and don't death threats to fucking Kevin Hayes and death threats to Gauthier. That shit's fucking such child nonsense. Just, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's happened. It's going to happen. And move on. Who cares? You guys are winning. shouldn't even be a freaking blip on the radar. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like Rich said, it's a kid you never even had. It's not like he was on your team lighting it up, and all of a sudden he's like, I'm out of here.
Right. I mean, there is, and this is only speculation. It's very possible that it was the handling of the Pride Night thing, because he's potentially close to, something, maybe his family, where that's something that means a lot to him. And, they kind of like, there was the player that didn't want to participate. And then I think they kind of bent to that and were like, okay, you don't have to. And then they just decided to just do away with all that. So I think from what I read, and this isn't me stirring anything up, but like, it is possible that, he doesn't want to play for the organization because of how they handled that.
Maybe it could be. But I mean, then, and sorry to cut you off, but don't play in the NHL, because unfortunately the NHL kind of did away with all of those, quote unquote theme nights, except for it seemed like they still did the Hockey Fights Cancer thing, but like, they had all these theme night things that they were set up, and like they did away with it because of the outcry of pretty much surrounding that Pride Night one, because it seemed like that was the only one that really had the biggest issue. It didn't seem like any of the other theme nights were really much of an uproar. But I mean, that could be. I didn't even actually read that story. So I mean, look, if that's something that he has a connection to and feels like they didn't handle it properly, then maybe it's something that he's like, all right, well, this is I can't trust the organization. So,
yeah, I mean, it could, that it's probably not that, but who knows?
And you never really know. I mean, all these things, on the outside looking in. Look, people were saying that Corey Perry was banging freaking Bedard's mom, and that's why he got freaking, exiled from the team. But like, that's obviously not the truth, because they, every angle have come out and that's shown that it's not the truth. And if it was the truth, I'm sure there'd be some crazy video leak of it somehow, some way, somewhere. Like, it's like, in this day and age, would that really surprise you? No, right? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but like,
I mean, I don't know. It's a little strange.
It is a little bit strange, but like, that's just the freaking day and age, like, it's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's just speculation and just bullshit talk, rumors. But anyway, I think we spent enough time on the
cutter. So bye.
I guess we'll see, over time, we'll see, Gauthier is going to graduate, and I guess he'll be ready to play next season, or at the end of this season. Towards the end of the season, when the collegiate hockey season's over. Well,
there was the other story that they thought it was possible because they weren't going to play him right away in the NHL. They were going to start him in the minors to develop his game, and that he wanted to play right away, and he wasn't interested in playing in the minors. But
I mean, look, some of these kids, they don't want to deal with that extra. He's playing on one of the better programs in Boston, MDU.
What's his size like?
I think
because that means a lot.
He's 6'2" something.
Because if he's a big boy, right, and he's got muscle and he's got size, then there is no reason he should risk getting hurt in the minors.
Yeah,
he should just come up and try to learn, with the big boys. Let's see how big he is.
Let's see.
Because we already seen Bedard, who's not so big of a guy, get his jaw busted up.
Yeah, which is such a freaking shame for the game.
It's a shame. He'll learn from that.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Like, even McDavid got hurt in his first season because he wasn't careful. They learn to protect themselves a little bit better. He's gonna have his head up more. He's gonna. He's going to distribute, and his eyes aren't just going to get lost.
Yeah. And on that play, as unfortunate as it is, he kind of looks down a little bit. He kind of runs into, the heck's the player on the Devils?
Brendan Smith.
He kind of runs into Brendan Smith. I mean, it's just unfortunate because he fractured his jaw. He needs surgery, and now
he got the surgery. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he needed surgery. So he needed the surgery. He got surgery, and now he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. So it's kind of just, so back to Cutter Gauthier, 6'2", 189 pounds.
In that 184.
Huh? He was born in 90.
Yeah, he's 194 pounds. So
194 pounds.
he's just short of 200 pounds.
Yeah,
I mean,
sorry.
he's not tiny.
No, he's not at 19. You know, at 9. And so, look, I'm guessing from what he's saying is he just played in the World Juniors. He's playing at a top program. He wants to play in the NHL like he's seen all these other kids playing at at 19 at the NHL. He was drafted 5th overall. You know, you want that.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
there is a culture though that you gotta play in training camp.
Yeah,
you know, and he should really take it from there. I mean, he should have taken it from there. Like any player should. I guess he didn't want to let it go that far, but you feel like you need to earn your spot out of training camp because there's a bunch of other guys that are playing to try to get in there.
Yeah, and also if you think about it, right? So if he's not going to make it if he's not going to play in the NHL until after he finishes up with the season with Boston College, right? Mm-hmm. So that'll put the NHL season towards the end, heading into the playoffs.
Right.
If the Flyers are rolling, right, and everything is going according to plan for the Flyers, and they're going to make the playoffs, yeah, adding a guy like Gauthier might be solid, but that means they have to subtract somebody from the lineup who's also been in the mix and has already been established and has been playing the Tortorella system and knows the system and knows how to be a part of the system, as opposed to somebody who's coming off the streets. So, I mean, on as an organizational standpoint, you can see where they're like, listen, sit it out. What's the big deal? You've already played a lot of hockey. Wait till the next season. Now, and then he kind of was maybe a little bit of a baby about it, a prima donna about it, but whatever. I think we've kind of gone too much with him and that situation. Let's talk about the Bedard hit a little bit. You want to talk about that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like we said, it was kind of a freak accident leading to an injury. It's kind of just one of those things where, it just takes away from another, like a superstar in the league. You want to see those top players playing,
Right.
It kind of reminds me in a similar sense of like the hype to see Brett Favre play for the Jets and to see Brett Favre,
Aaron
Rodgers, Brett Favre. Well, I mean,
they both did ironically.
They both ironically went from the freaking Packers to the Jets. But anyway, so so everybody was all set. They wanted to see Aaron Rodgers play for the Jets. It's great for the sport. The Jets went out and put a bunch of great pieces around him to try and help them win. A little bit different situation with Chicago because even though they put some veteran pieces around them, the team got decimated by injuries. Everybody went out. Everybody's out for one reason or another. And, it's one of those things that takes away from the sport,
Right.
But it opens up the door for some other rookies, to really maybe go out, like you said, because, McDavid didn't win the Rookie of the Year. Panarin won it. And, we'll see if, maybe the kid from Minnesota or, Fantilli or, whoever. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Because, Bedard obviously was the favorite going into this, leading rookies in points and assists, goals, everything, shots, time on ice, pretty much every category. But, this will give some players an opportunity to see what they can show. Maybe they'll go out and win the Calder.
6-day weeks. That gets us where? Middle of March? Maybe like March. Beginning to middle of March?
Yeah. So it's like 20 games, 25, 30 games.
And then he's got a month left, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of like 8, maybe like 15 games, maybe less. Probably like 13 games, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think he had I'm trying to think. I think he had like 13 goals or something like that when he went down.
Yeah.
15 goals, 18 assists, 33 points in 39 games. So if he's going to miss about 25 games, that'll put him at quick math, but like 50.
He's
55
he's
games.
gonna miss a lot.
So so what do they probably have like so he could still easily he could potentially put up 25. He could potentially put up 30 goals.
Yeah.
You know, which would be crazy. 30 goals in a I guess 60 game season, 70 game season. Yeah, 60 game season.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a rookie, I mean, I think that still puts him at rookie of the year, honestly, especially with time missed and he puts up those numbers. Because I mean, I don't know, I don't know what the exact rookie leading. Are you looking up rookie leaders?
Not really.
Yeah.
Fantilli's got 11 goals, 13 assists for 24 points in 42 games. So you're right. Bedard was pretty much well ahead of him. Who's the kid on Minnesota?
Fantilli's and
Marco Rossi.
Marco Rossi, yeah. So he's got Marco Rossi's got
he's got 24 points.
24 points. So I mean, yeah, I mean it really there's a good chance that I still would put my money on Bedard winning the Calder, even with the right now. I'm sure that the betting odds have shifted. I don't know if you can look that up, but I'm sure they shifted. But I would still put my money on Bedard taking that home. Yeah. So moving right along, let's. You want to talk about Winnipeg? Still?
We can talk about Winnipeg if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'd talk about Winnipeg for a little bit. I mean, what a freaking wagon they've been. Last 20 games had the second best record in the league.
They won again tonight.
Won again tonight, right?
2-1. So it's another game where they allowed less than three or less.
3 or less goals. I think they're at a streak of like 25 games. 20.
Is it 25? I think it's like 31.
31. Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. Whatever it is, they're just getting.
It's a hell of a lot of Hellebuck.
Yeah, and I mean, but it's not just Hellebuck because
it's a hell of a lot of luck from Hellebuck and Bressois.
Yeah, Francois Bressois. Where he was in? Where did he come from?
Bressois came from. Trick question. He came from Winnipeg. Went to the Golden Knights.
Yes.
And then went back to Winnipeg.
Yes, that's right. Last season, right? Last season was he?
Yeah.
He was with the Golden Knights.
Yeah, he was the backup.
Did he get a cup last year? Was he the backup on the cup last year, or was Quick?
No,
I'm not Quick.
It was Quick and Hill, or not Quick and Hill. Was it? Yeah, it was Quick. Wait, it was Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill. Sorry.
Yeah. Because they had a merry-go-round of goaltenders in for a little while in Vegas last season.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, obviously, Hellebuck is one of the best goaltenders in the league, and Winnipeg is just moving right along. I mean, they're not. I mean, they're playing stingy defense. They don't even have to score like tonight. They won 2-1. I mean. When you have goaltending and you have defense like they have, you don't always have to pop 5-4. Like when you have a team like Toronto, so even the Oilers, you gotta make sure your offense is pretty much firing on all cylinders. And I think you saw it with the Oilers in the beginning of the season. Before McDavid got to form, they really weren't doing anything, and now McDavid's. Playing McDavid esque, and they're freaking solid. They're back to, chasing down a playoff spot, which, they were one of the cup favorites going into the season.
Yeah.
So, with Winnipeg, I mean, it's just they're building they built a good team over there. It seems like
they have a great balance. They've been missing their best possibly like their MVP for. Yes, Hellbuck's their MVP, but
Yeah.
I mean, like, we're talking about Kyle Connor, who is obviously he's their most dangerous goal scorer. Could be argued that Scheifele is, but I mean, Kyle Connor most recently has been, for the last few years, banging 37, 40 goals,
Yeah.
He had upper 40s last year, didn't he?
Yeah. So
Kyle Connor.
Connor's only played in 26 games this season. He's got 17 goals, 11 assists.
Yeah.
I mean, he was leading the league, and leading Winnipeg in goals when he went. He still is leading Winnipeg in goals.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And he's only played in 26 games. Nikolai Eller's got 14. Mark Scheifele's got 14, and Cole Perfetti has got 14 as well. And then Kyle Connor, 26 games, 17 goals, 11 assists, 28 points.
Yeah, and then the secondary scoring, you got Niederreiter, Lowry, Mason Appleton, Nemesnikov. They're all chipping in.
Yeah.
Velarde has been pretty big.
He's been solid. He's
18 points
Alex
in 22
Iafoli.
games.
I mean, they have players,
Iafolo's 7 goals in 40 games is very deceptive because he's a guy that over any like 6 to 8 game stretch, he'll get you like 5-6 goals. Like he's got such a wicked shot.
Yep.
And when he gets open, you see that. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty deep. Their defense, they're just built well. They play well. They move the puck well. They skate hard. They play a very dedicated game. And I mean, it's just, what more can you say? Rick Bowness, right?
Yeah. Yep. An Islander.
He's got them going. He's got those boys going.
Yeah, and a former Islander
associate coach. Yeah.
Moving right along.
Carolina.
Yeah, let's talk about Carolina. I think
so. I fucking hate Carolina.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about how much I hate them.
Before we get onto our hate for, as Islander fans, if you guys, one or two of you that have paid attention to the other stuff that we put out, if there is anything else that we've put out besides this, we're all Islander fans, both of us, Rich and I. So as an Islander fan, I'm sure you have a list of the teams aside from the Rangers that you can't fucking stand. And aside from the Rangers, I know I have Tampa, Carolina, and Toronto. And Boston's in there. But Boston and Philly are just kind of like gimmies. Like they just kind of like roll over with but Carolina is probably, I can't stand Carolina more than the Rangers maybe, because Carolina's knocked the Islanders out of the playoffs twice in the last 10 years or whatever. The Islanders, Carolina plays a better brand of what the Islanders want to play. They play it faster. They play it more physical. They play it more skilled. And that's why they always fucking beat the Islanders. And that's why they're just usually so well coached, and they're such a well-oiled machine that it was kind of like, there was some kinks in the armor. And they were like, then maybe not so, they're not playing so well. And it was like, their kink in the armor was they were missing their Andrei Svechnikov. The guy comes back, and all of a sudden they can't lose.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just takes just a guy coming back to uplift the team. Because, obviously, like, one guy, he's not going to – he can't be, like, the only reason. Like, because I just think they weren't playing well.
No.
And, a team like that, they didn't really do anything bad with the personnel on the ice. They pretty much they made players. Upgrades and they were supposed to be like pretty much kicking everyone's ass all year, but they're only just starting to gel and play that kind of hockey. And Brind'Amour he was like very vocal about like just frustrated and like tired, like in his post-game interviews, just like just like very, very honest and but sullen and just like almost like I don't know what else to do. But I guess maybe the team responded to that, because they want to play for that guy, and they've had a lot of success, like you said. They haven't won a cup with Brenda Moore, have they? They haven't.
They're I think
they made it to
their conference final record is some like ridiculous. I don't think they're like 0 and whatever. In the conference finals,
but they get there.
Yeah,
and they play well, and for whatever reason, maybe they just get outmatched by the conference final. But they're playing very well right now.
Yeah,
and they had another big comeback win tonight.
Yeah, 7-1-2 in their last 10 games.
Not a comeback, but they had a 3-1 lead, and then they gave up the 2 goals, and then they didn't fold. They came back and answered with 3 more. So
yeah, and that's something that they were doing in the beginning of the season. They didn't have the confidence, and they would they would let a lead squander, and then the things would fall apart, or they didn't really play with many leads. And anyway, when they did, things just seems like it just wouldn't work out. But so like I said, 7-1-2 in the last 10 games. They're sitting with 54 points, second in the Atlantic Division, second in the Metro Division. They have the 4th most points in the East in the league, I believe. And I mean, it's all about gelling at the right time. Getting your players healthy and just gelling at the right time. And it seems like for Carolina fans, maybe cruising through the season isn't always the best way to go. You see it with these teams like Boston. They cruise through the season, and then it comes to playoff time, and you just run into a team that has been playoff. It's the cliche, but you run into a team who's been playing playoff games for half the season to get there, and they're a little more playoff ready or whatever. I guess it just is true. So what else you got?
No, just a lot of it's got to do with Kachekov as well. Like he we said they didn't really have goaltending, but like he's allowed 2 goals, 1 goal, 2 goals, 2 goals in his last 4 wins, and that was an answer to a 5-goal performance where he allowed 5 to the Islanders and a loss.
And I think there was a stat that I heard that I think he didn't win back-to-back starts for a good portion of the beginning of the season. So now he's starting to string those wins along.
That's 5 in a row for him now, actually, but he allowed 3 tonight.
Yeah. So I mean, still look, when you have a team like with Carolina that can score goals, 3 goals isn't a big deal.
Yeah.
So
I want to make note too, 4 of those are road games.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing, because Carolina has notoriously been a very good home team.
Yeah,
so if they're rolling on the road and they're playing well, and they still have that extra man type thing with the crowd, in Carolina, then they're going to be a tough out.
I'm going to mention too, they're tough buildings. I mean, they were in Nashville, they won 5-2. They were in Toronto. Yeah. I mean, they won that game 3-2. They played a tight, solid game. They squeaked one out. Yeah. And then they played in Madison Square Garden, where the Rangers are having a great year, and they smoked them.
Yeah,
6-1.
Yeah,
and then they went into Washington, another team that they played better at home.
Yeah,
and they kicked the shit out of them 6-2. So yeah, I mean, they're just firing right now.
The one little blemish might have been, which it's going to happen. They took the loss to St. Louis, who's still trying to find their feet. But I mean, 2-1. But either way, other than that, they lost to Pittsburgh 2-1, and they lost to the Islanders 5-4. Both of those the Penguins are climbing the division, climbing the standings quickly. The Islanders, are finding ways to win, and they won again tonight. They beat Toronto in overtime. So, they keep finding ways to win. And, Pittsburgh has gotten better. Um, I mean, look, the rest of the way, as an Islander fan, it's driving me crazy because it's like there's no room for error for the Islanders to
No,
have a bad. There's no room
they've
for
had
error.
all their error.
Yeah, there's no room for error for really.
Same with the
team.
Devils, though. They've had all their error.
See, with the Devils have so many injuries,
and they have
many
weak
key
goaltending.
injuries. And they have weak goaltending, and they have goal. They've.
I'm gonna say it. They have weak goaltending.
Yeah. I mean, look, Akira Schmidt came out of nowhere, and that was a fun story. But did anybody really think that Akira Schmidt was going to be like the second coming? There was a reason he's the fourth goaltender.
Even Wade Dubowitz had a really nice stretch, to get us into the playoffs that year.
Yeah, that poke check around the world,
Won 4 in a row against teams who were like, oh, they're gonna lose one of these games.
Yeah, you figured it. There was no chance. I remember I remember listening to that game. I was working, and I remember telling. I was working with my mom, and I remember telling my mom, like, I have to. I'd figured, just watching so much hockey, I was paying attention to the time, and I'm like, it's got to be close to the end of the it's got to be close to the end. So I'm like, I got to go. I got to go listen to the rest of the game. So I go and I turn on the car, put the game on, and then the freaking poke check. Dude, the poke check, and I was going crazy.
Yeah,
going nuts.
I mean, the guy was like, I don't want to do him any disservice. He was short.
Yeah.
He was like 5, like fucking like 6 or something.
Yeah, I mean,
so like he didn't cover a whole lot of the net. That dude had to be like all over the damn place.
Yeah, but you know what? I think one of the best things about sports are those like underdog triumph stories, like those like unsung hero type things where it's like, like on a Jeremy Lin type thing, or like Tommy DeVito with the Giants, or like that,
Jim Carrey with the Washington Capitals.
Yeah, exactly. Jim Carrey coming out and having like 6 shutouts in a row, like those are the stories that are like, that's what makes sports, like because those things, those like underdog things happen, I guess, in business. People go from nothing to everything and all those other things, but you don't see it or hear about it. But like when it, like in sports, or like when the backup, like the third string goalie, or not, not even like when the guy gets a call off the streets because every other goalie on the team is hurt, and he's the accountant, and he's starting that night, and it's like how do you not get chills for something like that? It's awesome. It's insane. It's cool. We digress. We were talking about Carolina. So, I mean, I guess as an Islander fan, it's like I was saying, like there's no room for error. There's no room for any hiccups. Like 3-game losing streak, and they can find themselves out of a playoff spot. But as a fan of hockey and the NHL, this is exciting.
Yeah. It's I mean, everything's real close.
It's January, and we're scoreboard watching. You know?
It's crazy.
It's cool. It's the parity. Say what you want about whatever, but I think it's showing that the salary cap and having a hard cap, it levels the playing field for everybody. Like look what's going on in baseball. Like how is that any fun for anybody involved?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm good.
I love baseball, but it's ruining it. Like it's ruining the sport. Like, how do you have
first the Mets spent fucking $9 billion on payroll, and then the Dodgers spent fucking $1 billion on payroll.
Right? It's like, and now like the Mets, it didn't work out for the Mets one season. Like we're tearing it all down, and we're gonna, and it's like it didn't. Like I don't know. Like it's just there's no fun involved. As I'm a Pirates fan, and as a Pirates fan who has been the freaking major leagues, the quadruple A for the rest of the freaking MLB, like it's like I was actually excited about the prospects that they have coming up, and they're starting to spend a little bit of money, but it's like how are they going to fucking compete with the team that just spent $1 billion on 2 players, and one of them is making $2 million, and he's supposedly the best player in the league, And it like that doesn't like convolute the whole system. The best player in the league is making $2 million so that they can go out and spend more money on, I don't know. It just, it's insane. It's insane. Like, I don't know. Can we talk about, speaking of insane, can we talk about William Nylander now getting $11.5 million and the fact that Toronto keeps throwing more money at these guys?
Oh, the cap's going to go up, though.
Oh, the cap's going to go up. I heard
that's what. Oh, Toronto fans are clinging to that.
Yeah.
No, they were going to be fine, and we're going to move Tavares. No, and the other one is that. Well, when Tavares' contract is up, he's going to take $5 million, or he can walk. I love that attitude. First of all, but he's going to fucking walk, and that's probably a good thing for you overall. But at the same time, what are you going to do with that payroll that opened up? I doubt they're going to spend it.
You know what they're going to do? Because they have another player that's coming up. They're going to spend it on him. Because
who's that?
Who didn't they lock up yet? They just locked up Nylander. Who else is that core for?
Matthews is locked up.
Mm-hmm.
Tavares needs to be. I think Marner.
Marner. I think Marner needs a contract.
Does he really? He's gonna check out the status of Marner while I keep going on about Toronto. But they're having trouble staying above 500 as well. Like when you figure in the overtime losses, I mean they're really having a hard time, and they're gonna blame Samsonov for letting in 5-6 goals a game, which he absolutely did, and then they're gonna waive Samsonov. And they're gonna Martin Jones has been very good for them, but I don't think that's like one of those things that's gonna last. Because
because Martin Jones isn't. He's another one of those like they ride the hot hand, and then when he has a streak of 3 or 4 bad games, he's going to start to lose his confidence because they're going to shit all over him in Toronto,
right?
And then they're going to be like, oh, well, we don't have anybody else, like
that city is every player's worst enemy, because they're just ridiculous. But they're passionate. And it's unfortunately for them, it's their downfall.
Yeah.
1967, for those who don't know, is the last time the Toronto Maple Leafs won a Stanley Cup. We're in the year 2023. Now, I usually pride myself on being able to do quick math, but not a chance in hell. It's been a long fucking time. Just bet on that.
So Marner signed his contract 2019 for 6 years. So if my math serves me correctly,
that son of a bitch in 2025 will be, and that's next year.
Next year, yeah. So next year they'll be giving Tavares' money to Mitch Marner.
And Marner's already making what, like 10-9, I think. Oh yeah, 10-9.
10-9, yeah. So he's already making 10-9. He's going to probably make.
He's going to be upward of 12.
He'll make 12, right? Then like you said, they're talking about the salary going, the salary cap going up. Salary cap.
He might take like 11.5.
Salary cap's going to go up $3 to $5 million. If that,
I mean, it's only been going up like 500,000.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
it's not going. Last year, yeah. Well, there was the freeze, and then I think they're only projecting it to go up like $2 million or something. It's not like the cap is going up. $14 million, and it's like, oh yeah, well, we'll just hide that 11 million under the 14. That's good. No, the cap isn't. It's not going up a lot.
Yes.
And I heard that one of the things that they were talking about was the reasoning behind the whole thing was Toronto, the brass in Toronto was thinking that, well, who are we going to get on defense, or how are we going to get a defenseman that'll make up for, they can't use that money to find a defenseman that'll make up for the wins above replacement based off the goals that Nylander provides. But it's like, you're not winning with those goals anyway.
Yeah.
So like, you can't find your metrics. People can't find you somebody that could help you on the defensive side. Like you couldn't have, I don't know. There's so, I don't know. I just feel like,
we'll see what they do. The trade deadline's coming up again, like before you know it.
Yeah.
It's, what is it, in like a month and a half?
I just always look at these things. It's like, all right.
Or is it in March?
Which one?
Trade
Trade
deadline.
deadline is March. Yeah.
Well, end of the season's
March,
April.
March 13th, I think. March
Oh,
11th.
okay.
No, March 13th. March 13th, I think. But anyway, so like I try and figure it out as these like this. The Capitals. Anaheim just traded Drysdale, like we were talking about at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of the episode, for Gauthier. Toronto is saying that they can't find a defenseman that make an impact. I'm pretty sure that Philadelphia just found a defenseman that's going to make an impact.
Yeah, you got to talk to teams, you know.
So
and
what are we talking?
And then the problem is, though, like, you know, then you got to want to be able to, like, you want to give something up that someone wants. Everyone knows Tavares is like they have to move him, or they're going to lose him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or, you know, or they're going to sign him and they're just going to still suck. So either way, everyone wins.
Yeah, yeah. That's I think the best breakdown of it all.
Really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't come up with a better one if I was like an expert, and I'm not. How did Tavares do tonight?
Tavares, nothing. I think
nothing on the board. Bunch of zeros.
Marner had 2 goals, I believe.
Yeah, nothing for JT.
Matthews. No, Matthews had 2 goals, I think.
Right. I'm gonna call him JT Varys. Yeah. Did he had he was a -1. Good. He was the reason they lost the game. They lost by 1. His fault.
Yeah. I don't know. I think what do you think? You got anything else? What else we got?
I mean, I probably did, but I can't remember. And you know, we're always back in short time, and
that's what I wanted to bring up.
Then what's up?
Corey Perry.
Oh, that we already talked about him.
No, we didn't. No, we talked about
he was banging Bedard's wife.
Mom.
Oh yeah,
yeah, but it didn't happen.
Mom.
Well, you know, the Ace Ventura where he's like, the killer saw the size of the bug's dick and became insanely jealous.
Yeah, Aguado.
Yeah. So now Corey Perry has been activated off the inactive list or whatever the fuck he was on the exempt list, I guess. Right.
Okay.
So now he's free to sign with a team.
With any team he wants.
With any team he wants. You think I mean, I'm sure there's a team that's going to take a flyer on him.
Yeah.
You know the question I'm going to ask. In a hypothetical world, and he's going to probably be I guess what's the veteran league minimum? It's probably around $1 million or something. So he'll probably be close to the veteran league minimum. He's not. Yeah, it's going to be a league minimum contract. The Islanders have cap space. You think they can fit him on there, or do you think he's too much of a cancer, or do you think his?
I don't think he's a cancer at all.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I'll be real. He's literally the type of guy that Lou Lamoriello gets.
Yeah.
Down in front of the net, gritty.
Mm-hmm.
He's a proven scorer. He's well past his prime. He's like the exact guy that. But I'll tell you what, even past his prime, he's a hell of a hockey player.
Yeah.
And he's shown it.
Leadership.
Yeah, like he helped Tampa win a cup.
Yeah.
And he also, went to Chicago, and before all the drama, he was playing pretty damn good, and he was helping those kids along, and there was actually nothing but good talk about him.
Oh, for sure.
So I don't know, it was like super out of left field.
It was very, very
out of
weird.
left field, fucking bleachers.
And you kind of feel for the whole. I mean, I don't know if you want to call it the hockey gods or like fucking shitting on the Blackhawks because that whole situation with the
it's another bad look for them. I don't know what the fuck.
I mean, but I don't know how much you blame the organization for that or as much the player. I just say I'm just thinking as far as like karma, like all right. So they win all these cups, all these things happen, then things start to go down. Like Panarin wasn't really happy with all the, how things were going. And then like Kane, Kane wasn't really happy with how things were going because they were starting to make all these trades. He wasn't happy about the DeBrincat trade. He wasn't happy about the Panarin trade. And he was vocal about certain things. Then that, whatever, that doesn't really matter. But then you get to the whole video coach thing and that whole situation with the player and the video coach and Bowman hiding it and Quinville hiding it and that whole thing, the whole mess, right? Then there really wasn't much like organizational punishment for that. Like I don't think they lost any real draft picks. I think there was maybe some monetary fines, but as far as like draft picks losing and stuff, I don't think they really lost anything like that. Fast forward, they wind up getting Connor Bedard and they start to bring in some pieces. Not that it was going to make them winners, but they're like, all right, we're going to figure out a way to help this kid along. We're going to surround him with, good players to keep him, on the right track. They'll show him how to be a pro. They brought in Hall. They brought in Perry, Foligno, but then it all just like crumbled. It started with Hall. Then it went to Perry. Then Bedard and Foligno went down at the same time.
Yeah, even Tyler Johnson.
It's like
Radish.
Yeah, like they're playing like Bedard at one point was basically playing with Foligno and the whoever. I don't even know what the Chicago Blackhawks
is it Kurt Kubali or Kurashev or something? Kurashev?
Who the coach?
Oh, I thought you meant who he's playing with.
No. I was saying no. I don't even know who the Blackhawks minor league team is because that's basically.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
It's pretty much the Blackhawks now.
Well, it's not like Rockford, right?
I'm a peach, a Rockford peach.
I don't know. I'm making shit up.
I don't know. But anyway, we digress.
Yeah. Hey Siri. Who is the Chicago Blackhawks minor league affiliate? See, we got to ask Siri sometimes.
Phone a friend. We're gonna phone a friend.
Rockford Ice Hogs.
Oh, shit.
Some bitch.
Look at this guy fucking pulling
That's what's up.
This guy pulling it. And they say we don't know.
That's why I had to look. Because I said it and I was like, not sure, but I should be more confident myself.
Yeah, that's why
I don't forget everything. I know I do some things that make me forget things, but.
Things that make you say,
All
right. So, yeah, I think it's 11/11 on January
11/11
on January 11th. So that means it is 1-1-1-1.
Shut the fuck up. Hold on. No. Bam. Frame. I'm doing that. Like, I'm framing it. Thank you for that. Another one. Another moment.
Bam. Two of them.
All right,
11/11. Stand in 7-Eleven. I'll give you $5,000 if you can tell me who sings that song. Staring at each other.
In other news, my wife's fantasy hockey team got smoked tonight, and she's upset about it. I mean, that's what you get when you have Darcy Kemper in net. He lost, and you have Nedeljkovic in net, and he.
Nedeljkovic. Can we talk about him?
He had 3 goals against on 6.
Can we talk about him because it seems like
he's been great.
He's been very good, but he's
rough
not
spots.
Spotty, and Jari isn't the answer.
No,
and like
Magnus Hellberg is like their third string.
Yeah, and he's like a fucking week away from being their backup because I don't think anybody in that organization truly has trust in Jari, and I really think that Dubas was like, yeah, we're going to bring Jari back. And I think everybody else was like, but why? It didn't work the first time. And he's like, but you guys hired me. This is why. And don't pull this crap with you because this is why I left Toronto. Because there was like talk that he didn't have enough organizational freaking input with like the moves because Shanahan was like bossing him around. Like, no, we're not making that move. No, we're not making this move. So like his insecurities kicked in. He's like, no, we're getting Jari. And that's all. That's the final say. And they're like, okay, boss, you got it. And it's like, but why? Like, did you not watch the series between almost every playoff game that he was in? Like, any time they were in the playoffs,
right.
How like brutal he was. Like, I don't know. As an Islander fan, I was just like, that's fucking amazing. Good for you. Go back to your cheating ex-wife. Have fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. But sorry, that's my That was my rant about that whole situation because I just didn't understand it.
Yeah,
you know.
it makes a couple of us for sure.
But yeah.
Struggle bus.
Did Marc-Andre Fleury is about to become number 2 on the overall wins list, or did he finally break that record?
I don't know. I mean, the Wild can't score goals
They can't
lately,
freaking
so
win.
I don't. I mean, if you look that up, that could be the last thing we talk about is how the Minnesota Wild lost Kirill Kaprizov, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to say like 2 weeks ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was one game like Boldy had 2 goals, but like they are really struggling to score goals lately. And if you look at their last few games, you'll see that they actually it's like one goal, no goals. They're getting,
even without Kaprizov, their lineup isn't.
It doesn't look bad on paper.
It doesn't look bad on paper. I mean, Matt Boldy, Eriksson Ek, Matt Zuccarello, Marcus Johansson, this kid Marcus Rossi, who's playing very well as a rookie, the rookie that we were talking about earlier, Ryan Hartman, Marcus Foligno,
Yeah, but this is last game, right? From the last game. They were off today, thankful for them because they needed the break. 2 goals they scored against Dallas in a loss.
Mm-hmm.
They scored 0 goals against Dallas in a loss.
Yeah. Oh, well, Dallas, did you see?
They won a game, but then they scored 1 in a loss, 1 in a loss. And then if you go back to December,
and in one of those games, in one of those Dallas games, they let up 2 shorthanded goals.
Yeah, 2 in a loss, 2 in a loss. And then that's really where, I mean, they just lately, maybe it hit me harder because I've been betting them like a little bit where like I want them to cover and they just don't cover because they don't score.
No, they're not covering. You can't
they can't trust them.
You can't.
They're
trust
one of those non-trust teams.
No, and Fleury has been chasing that for the last, like, I feel like it's been 2 weeks. I don't even know, but they're just not. Yeah, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words because I'm sure they're at a loss for words. Dallas freaking just made them look silly back-to-back nights, and it's not going good over there.
Marc-Andre Fleury apparently has 551 wins, which is tied for second with Patrick Waugh.
Yeah, so yeah,
and he did it in 25 fewer games.
Yeah.
But he also did it with the benefit of the extra session. I'd like to see how many games he won in a shootout because obviously Patrick Waugh and Martin Brodeur didn't have the benefit of having those. They were ties.
They were ties, yeah.
That was it. Yep. No chance to win. Ties.
I don't know how many ties. Does it say how many ties Brodeur has?
Quite a few. 125.
125.
Oh, no, that's shutouts. I'm sorry, dude. They don't even have a tie stat because
now they don't even keep track of it.
Yeah, you have to like really go deep in the record books.
Well, how many games did he play?
Who?
Brodeur.
Martin Brodeur played 1,266 games, of which he won 691 games for a winning percentage of holy fuck. That's all I got. Like I said, my math. I'm not really on my math tonight. It's a lot. It's a great winning percentage. That's almost 700 wins in 1,200. I mean, how many losses? 397.
So great. We can probably do the math.
125 shutouts. Let me put this into perspective for everybody.
What was it?
You know how Gretzky dominates most like offensive categories? How about Martin Brodeur? 125 shutouts is like 22 more than the next closest. It's unreal. Tiny Thompson had quite a few shutouts, apparently.
12. Was it 1266?
Oh, yeah, you're going to do some mathematicas.
And how many wins?
Quite a few, G. 691.
691. So 1266 minus. How many losses?
300. And how many losses? Well, see, the funny thing about that, Garrett, is now
He never lost a game.
Yeah, right. It seemed that way when he played the Islanders. 397.
So, based off of simple math, he has 294 ties.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fucking ties.
Yeah, you figure he would have won what, like 55 to 60% of those games?
Yeah.
At least?
Yeah. Easily.
Yeah, so he'd be
Because he was
leagues ahead.
He was stone cold on fucking breakaways.
Yeah. He was hard to beat.
What's if he won 50% of those? What's half fucking? It basically have 150.
It's like 147.
Yeah. So he would have like 600 and something wins. He would have he has 691 already. He'd have fucking 800 wins.
Yeah.
Crazy. Crazy.
He'd have more than anyone could ever get.
Yeah. He'd have more wins than probably most goalies are going to start this time or this like this era.
Well, the other thing is 40-win seasons. Like he's got more 40-win seasons than most goalies have 30-win seasons.
Yeah.
It's unreal. And like there's not a whole lot of 40-win seasons in NHL history.
No. Even now. I mean, how many times has it happened? Like in the last, let's see, what do you put in the last 40 goal season?
Yeah.
40 win season?
Most 40-win seasons in a career. Martin Brodeur had, no, wait a minute. I can't be right. Oh, okay. Yeah. He had 8 40-win seasons. The next closest is a shit ton of people tied with 3. Like, come on.
But does it say who was the last one to do it?
It looks like it could have been the other goalies are Holtby, Mikra Kipasov, Evgeny Nabokov.
So Holtby has to be the last.
Pekka Rinne.
I guess Pekka Rinne would probably be the last one to do it.
Jacques Plante.
Definitely not Jacques Plante.
Terry Socha, Ken Dryden, Bernie Perrant. Ed Belfour. Oh, no, these are 2 now. These guys only got 2 40-win seasons.
Yeah, so Pekka Rinne probably the most recent, right?
Yeah.
What year was that? I would say 2014, 2013, 2014.
Yeah. Holtby hasn't been around for a while
right?
now.
What year was it that he had 4?
Pekka Rinne last had 40 wins in 2018.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
A couple years early.
2018 looks like 2015 and 2012. So like every 3 years.
The 2 years that I didn't fucking pick, that I did pick.
So wait, when did he last have it?
2018.
Oh, so he skipped 2021. So now 2024 is probably what they're going to do.
So, I mean, I don't think there's anybody on pace for 40 this season. Hellebuck, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see where he's at.
Hellebuck has a chance because he plays most nights.
All right.
8 40-win seasons. It's just unreal.
Crazy.
I wonder how many were consecutive. Well, actually, it's pretty sick. I mean, because he had the 40 wins his first season. His first 40-win season was in 98, right?
Oh, so all right. So Bobrovsky's got 21. Demko's got 21. Hellebuck's got 21. Georgiev's got 21. So they could all win 40.
There was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He did it 6 out of 8 seasons and 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that's never happening again.
He pretty much like he just dominated an entire decade from 2000 until 2010.
Yeah.
Dominated. Best decade ever.
Yeah.
For any goalie
For any goal, yeah.
ever. No doubt. How many cups in that? I think 3, right?
Yeah, 3 cups.
Yeah. Nah, nothing touches it.
No. How many Vezinas?
I don't know, but quite a few. And I know that he had the misfortune of playing at the same time as like Wah, who might have snaked a few.
Hasek probably won.
He snaked a few. Yeah. So like
and the beginning, Belfour, I don't know if Belfour might have. Nah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you know, it's just it's crazy because it was just a time where goaltenders were so good, and
well, I mean,
it was Kolzig, Hasek, Jose Theodore, later named Theodore, and then Brodeur 2 years in a row, Kiprusoff wedged in there as a sandwich, and then Brodeur 2 more years, and then Tim Thomas had his flowers.
Yeah,
they gave one to Ryan Miller. In a year, Thomas probably should have won that year too.
Yeah, Thomas probably should have won back to back.
And then they gave one to Lundqvist because the Rangers needed some attention.
Lundqvist had a good season that year, but
I'm not a hater. He was great.
I don't know.
He was great. He was no. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he had 4 Vezinas. He should have had probably like 7 or 8 Brodeur. But it just goes to show big time goaltending. Mm-hmm. You know, he was there. He did it. Yes, Tim Thomas had how many cups?
He definitely won with Boston.
Did he win the 1 cup or did he I think
he won the 1 cup with Boston, right?
Okay. Maybe, yeah. It's possible. I remember that year we were sick in the playoffs because he cost me. I had Tampa at like, I think they were like 75-1 or something like that at some point in the season, and I bet them. And then they played against Tim Thomas, and one of those games was a 0-0 game that went overtime.
Yeah, he won the cup.
Yeah, it's probably that year. But yeah, we were going to end at 11:11. We gave you some bonus coverage, people. Yeah. That was like 16 solid minutes of bonus coverage.
Some free hockey, as they call it.
That's right. We're talking some fun stuff. I'm talking a little bit of news before. Now we're just going down memory lane.
Oh shit! He won the MVP of the playoffs that year.
Oh hell yeah, he was like his save percentage that year in the playoffs was like .937 or something like that. And I'm pretty sure it was a record at that point.
I think it still is. I don't know. Well, this year, I think Aiden Hill might have broke it.
Really? I remember the most. I've been privileged in my life to be able to see some really insane like 7-game performances by goalies. I mean, just some really like just guys that rot. Like remember back, and this is historic because this guy that I'm about to tell you about is a guy who didn't even win the Stanley Cup, and he won the Conn Smythe.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember J.S. Jaguar?
J.S. Jaguar, yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my God, that series he played. It was like a magnet was attached to him, like all areas of him.
You know what you got to watch? It's a really, really good documentary. It's called It's like It's the Mighty Ducks. It's a Mighty Ducks documentary, and they talk about the making of the Mighty Ducks. But it's not just like it talks about the making of the movie The Mighty Ducks, but it also talks about like how the NHL, like the Mighty Ducks came into the NHL, and it like interviews the owner, and like it's very, very good. It's on ESPN. Let me get you the name of it. You guys, if you're out there still paying attention, if we haven't bored you guys to tears or forced you into smoking yourself to sleep, it's on ESPN.
Trending
Once Upon a Time in Anaheim.
Okay.
It's an E60. Mighty Ducks, Once Upon a Time in Anaheim. It's an E60.
Nice.
Very good watch.
Do they go into Julie the Cat Gaffney? Or is that
they
not
do interview they interview some of the cast members. They interview Goldberg, and he talks about his crazy drug addiction, and
he talks about all that.
He does. He goes.
I thought he would just talk about being Goldberg.
No, he talks about that, and he kind of talks about how
that's good though.
Yeah, he kind of talks about how like running into people like kind of helped save him and stuff.
I remember that I saw a picture, I saw a picture of him when he was in bad shape, and I remember going, oh no, like that sucks, like that just sucks. And then years later, I saw another one surface, and it made me feel really good because the guy looked so good, and he looked happy, and a smile on his face, and he didn't look drawn, and all sorts of that stuff. It kills you. It literally kills you on the outside. It's just, I'm glad, it's a good story that he
he looked better. And I don't know exactly how long ago this documentary came out, but he looked a lot better. And they showed the mugshot of him, and he talked about how he was pretty much homeless, and like he just like so it was good to see him turn things around. It is now 11:31, and we came 20 minutes past our bedtime, and we are now officially an hour and a half past our producer Jackson's bedtime. So
he's using another piece of furniture to hold himself up.
Yes,
he's like passing out over there. So
on that note, guys, thank you very much for listening to us. We appreciate you guys very much. We look forward to being invited into your homes next time. Give us a listen. Follow us on Instagram, top90 podcast on Instagram. And Rich?
As always, John Tavares, you are not welcome on the show.
Yeah, I second that notion. You're definitely not welcome on this show. Unless you actually really want to sit down and talk to us, we would definitely not tell you no.
Fucking, you kidding me? No. Yeah. Come over. Come on in.
Come on over. We might call you.
Come on in.
We might slip and call you Pajama Boy once in a while, but
no. Just
all in good, clean.
Bring
fun.
yourself here. Sure, do it.
Yeah, come on. We won't tell anybody. We'll tell all three of our listeners, who are probably not even listening right now.
You ever seen the movie Celtic Pride? JT?
Yes.
You ever seen that movie?
Yeah, it was such a good
Watch
movie. Such a good movie.
And then come over.
All right. On that note, now that it makes it seem like we are live on air trying to Celtic Pride John Tavares.
He wouldn't make a very good day. Who was that? Damon Wayans. Damon Wayans.
Yeah, I almost said Keenan Ivory Wayans. Yeah, Damon Wayans.
Damon.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much. We appreciate you very much. And whatever you guys do, make sure you aim top 90.
Good night.